Hi folks, this is Vicki at patternprincess.com. I'm going to show you how to make that really pretty stitch using the yarn itself I've used in the photo for this blanket. I got to find my yarn end. Here it is. While I'm talking to you. This is Yarn Inspirations Bernat Blanket Perfect Phasing. It calls for, let me get this right side up here, a size L crochet hook, but I am using a size N, like in Nancy, size N, and it's a 9mm furls crochet hook. It's a metal one. It's an all stainless steel one. It already has a bunch of Mar marks on it. It's getting its use already. Each skein is 300 grams or 220 yards. It's a really pretty soft material. It's made out of polyester. It's a polyester and it's a number 6 bulky yarn. And the color I'm using today is dark blue. Okay, so this pattern has a repeat of rows 4 through 7. And I'm just going to do a smaller swatch here for you. I am going to start, when I started the blanket, I started with the center first. I went to blue. Then the next skein, I joined blue yarn. And then the next skein, my white is what I ended with. So then I went with white yarn. So I switched off, changing the colors of the yarn, whether I started from the inside or the outside, based on whatever color I was finishing with. So, oh, and then when I changed yarn, this yarn, it kind of is a little bit sticky, so I also had to change how I held my yarn. I normally go like this, but the yarn really sticks and pulls. So when I'm holding my yarn, I just loop it over one finger like this. I forget that little finger. When you change yarn on this, I've had really good luck using just a square knot method. And I'm just going to show you here. I'll snip off this so I can show you. Okay, and when you do a square knot, it's just left over right. Okay, go through, and then right over left. And this happened to work really well. This yarn covered it up really well. I didn't see it poking through, and it really held. Okay, so I've got this tied tight now. And I'm going to pull. And I'm pulling hard. I'm pulling hard. I'm pulling hard, pulling hard, pulling hard. It is not coming apart. See that? So then what I did is I just snipped my yarn, not really close to the knot, but just right about there. I'd snip it. And then when I was crocheting, you can't see this yarn because it's a little bit fluffy yarn. But that's what I did. I just changed the yarn exactly where I was. Okay, so that's my little tip on changing yarn. Now let's start with the crochet pattern. For this one, I happen to have an even number of chains. I made a really big blanket, but I will have other blanket sizes for you in the free pattern. Okay, so let's get our loop on our hook, our slip knot I should say, and our loop. There we go. Okay, I don't know, I think for this example we'll do like 16 chains. And the reason I'm using a bigger hook is because I don't want the curling that sometimes happens with an alpine stitch. If you can't see the stitches that I'm working here, I also have the alpine stitch in a medium weight yarn available on my YouTube channel, and I'm hoping I'll be smart enough to remember to link it in the description. So anyways, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, so we got 16 chains here. A lot of times I found that I like to work in the back bump when I'm starting a crochet pattern like this. If you're going to add a border, I'm not adding a border onto this one. You certainly can though. If you are adding a border, you might want to do that. However, this thick yarn and this fuzzy yarn is quite forgiving, so I'm not going to work in the back bump. Instead, I'm just going to work right in the regular top loop of the chain, okay? So in the second chain from the hook, so here's 1 chain, here's 2. I'm going to work a single crochet in each stitch across. So that's really simple. This makes it nice to be able to see it when you're working with this fuzzy yarn. And if you can't see it, pull it apart a little bit. It's okay, it's very forgiving. But this was pretty easy to work with here, I found, on this stitch. I'm actually using my last skein here to show you. I will be taking this out, using the yarn again, right, my crochet project. But it's always nice when you get to your last skein and you can see it almost done. It is so beautiful. The blanket that I'm making is a very large one. And my son-in-law, I made him one 7 years ago, I've realized now. And it's time for another one, and he's over 6 foot tall. So they want to be able to cover up from head to toe and have it snuggle up underneath your chin and over your feet too. And then this blanket will do that. So here's my row 1 done with my single crochet. Looks really okay. I've turned my work. Now I'm going to work row 2. The first 3 rows are just setup rows. So I'm going to do a chain 3, which does count as a double crochet. Since it counts as a double crochet, you won't be working in this very first stitch right here. You're going to work in the next stitch right here. So we're going to yarn over and we're going to do double crochet all in each stitch all the way across, right? So far it's really simple, and hopefully you're able to see the stitches just as easy as I'm able to see them. It's quite easy for me to see these. So right here is a stitch. They pop out. You can kind of see the little outline of it there. And as you work with this yarn, you'll get used to seeing the stitches. And then again, I'm only looping this over my index finger because it is a little bit, like I said, it's not really, I don't know, I guess a sticky yarn, maybe that's a good term for it. It doesn't pull through smoothly, but I sure love the cozy results. We're almost here. All right. And then we've got to make sure that we do, so as you're working it, you're going to have this little hump out to the side. That's your first chain 3 that you skipped over. We've got to make sure that we put a stitch right on top of that first chain stitch. And you can tell you have it when, see how nice and straight that looks? So we just have a row of single crochet and a row of double crochet. That's all we've done so far. And now we're going to go on to row 3, and I'm going to turn my work and meet you on the other side. Okay, let's roll on to row 3. So we're going to chain 1. That does not count as anything. So since it doesn't count, it's just a turning chain. We're going to single crochet right into this first stitch right here. So we just insert our hook, yarn over, and yarn over, bring it through 2 loops. And we're going to do a single crochet in every stitch across. Okay. And this is, we're almost here. I'll work them kind of fast so we can we'll get to the other side. You could also skip ahead. I will have breaks in here so you can tell what row you're on. Okay, now we've just about come to the end. Make sure you take a look at this. We have 2 stitches left. All of your stitches should always line on top of each other. Keep that in mind the whole time we're working on this blanket, okay? And you won't lose your place then. So this here is a stitch. We have a double crochet here, and we have that first chain 3, so we're going to have to work a stitch there, okay? So we have a single crochet here, and then we have 1 here. And when you complete this, you should have a nice edge. Okay, there's your edge. We have the first 3 rows completed. I'm going to turn this, and now we're going to work row 4, and that'll be the first row of our repeat. Okay, here is row 4. Now, when working row 4, you're going to start the alpine stitch. When working the alpine stitch, because we're going to be working into the double crochet rows that are not in the third row but in the second row, it brings the height of the stitch down. So normally in a double crochet we started with that chain 3. We're only going to start with a chain 2 to make up for that height difference. So chain 2. This counts as a double crochet, all right? So this counts as this first stitch. See how this all aligns right here? All in a row. That's how you know if you're going to count this stitch, you don't work in this first stitch here. We're going to work in this stitch here, but we're going to work in the stitch below. So you're going to yarn over, and then we're going to do a front post double crochet, which is we go in front of this post, behind this, in front of this post. You bring your hook through there, yarn over, bring it through, yarn over, and I bring up the height just a little bit, okay, of this loop here, and bring your loop through 2 loops and your loop through 2 loops. That's your first stitch that you're going to work. Then the next one is a double crochet in the single crochet stitch. So you're going to yarn over, go into the single crochet stitch. You're going to skip this stitch here, this single crochet, because we worked in this stitch below. And again, you can always tell where you are because you've worked the stitch that counts for that. You're going to work here and always align your stitch with the top straight, okay, of the stitch below. So right here is your double crochet. All right, now we're going to do the same thing again. And the next stitch, which would normally be right here, the stitch below that is this one here. You can tell where this one here I worked a stitch, this one here I skipped, this one here I'm going to work. So I'm going to yarn over, go in front of this one, behind this loop, or I should say post, and in front of this one. Yarn over, bring it up a little bit, yarn over, go through 2 loops, and yarn over through 2 loops. Next one's done. Skip this one here, we go to this one, and do our double crochet in that single crochet stitch. Let's do our alpine stitch again. We're going to go over this, up behind this, over that, yarn over, bring our loop up, yarn over, go through 2 loops, and yarn over, go through 2 loops. Going to go to the next stitch and work our double crochet in that single crochet stitch. And then we're going to do our front post double crochet right here like this. Bring it up a little. Okay, and then our double crochet. And then our front post double crochet. And then our double crochet. And another front post double crochet. And then a double crochet. And a front post double crochet right here. And then we're going to end on the very last stitch with a double crochet. So there we go. This is how it's looking now, all right? So then row 5, we're going to turn it. This is the back side of it, and we're going to work row 5. I got to get some more yarn. Okay, so we're going to work our chain 1. Then that doesn't count, so we're going to single crochet in that first stitch. And then we're going to single crochet in each stitch across. So then this is the next stitch. And I actually think that working the single crochet stitches after your front post double crochet and your double crochet stitches is easier to find your stitches because there's that little bit of a gap between. So this is all that there is to the next row here. And then we just have 2 more rows, which is really a repeat of what we're doing here just about. And you have the whole pattern. You can just keep going. There we go. We have this one, and we still have 1 more. We have that initial chain stitch where we have to do a single crochet in there. Sometimes I have to jam that hook in there a little bit. Okay. We have row 5 done. This is how it looks on the back side. This is how it looks on the front side. And it's really pretty when you have different color changes in here, but right now it's all the light color, okay? It's kind of a light blue right now. Now we're going to go on to row 6. Okay, we're going to chain 2, 1, 2. Remember that counts as your stitch. Now, right here you have an alpine stitch. You can tell because it's the stitch is pushed more up towards you. This here was a double crochet stitch, just a regular double crochet on top of that single crochet. That kind of looks like it's pushed backwards, right? Away from you. So when you have the stitch where you did the alpine stitch and it's coming toward you, you're going to work a double crochet. So in this row, we're going to yarn over and do the single crochet or double crochet in the single crochet stitch right here. In the stitch where we did the double crochet last time, down here, we're going to work our front post double crochet. So we go in front, behind, and in front, yarn over, bring it up a little bit, the height, go through 2 loops and 2 loops. And there it is. The next stitch is right here. So we're going to work just a double crochet in that single crochet stitch. The next stitch is pushing away, so you can tell that that was just the double crochet stitch. Now we're going to do the front post double crochet. Then the next one is a double crochet. And the next one is a front post. We're just going to keep alternating like this. And a double crochet. And a front post double crochet. Oops, I didn't bring that height up. See how short and squatty that one would be? Okay, here we go. Let's bring it up. There we go. It doesn't have to be a lot, just a little bit. I think it helps with the stitch, the way it looks and the way it lays. And up a little bit. And we're just going to keep alternating between those 2 stitches. And then we have one here, and we have 2 stitches left. And then a double crochet. And then a double crochet in the last stitch. Okay, here's how we're looking after row 6. Isn't that a lot of lovely texture? Here's the back, but it's soft and beautiful texture and squishy. So I'm going to work on row 7, get more yarn, and I'll meet you back. Okay, I have more yarn. I have my work turned. I'm going to work my chain 1, and we're going to, that does not count as a stitch, so then we single crochet in that first stitch, and then we single crochet all the way across. And that's it. We're just going to continue to work pattern the rows 4 through 7. And it's really kind of the same thing. The only thing you do is alternate where you put your stitch, your alpine stitch versus your, I should say your front post double crochet stitch versus the double crochet stitch. You alternate your stitches to give it that lovely texture. And we just got a few stitches left here. And this works nice with the variegated yarn. You can change colors using this yarn, or yarn, I should say, stitch pattern. And there we go. This is all there is to this pattern. And I will have the pattern for this blanket out free on the website by the time that you see this. And it really looks nice when you start to change the yarn color and it starts to blend into here and come into this. So I hope that you enjoy this pattern, and please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Enjoy your crochet time.